start in 2 Kings chapter 4 and verses 1 and 2. We're going to jump right in here. The Bible says, the wife of a man from the company of the prophets. Now, he was part of the prophets. Remember that Elijah had a school of prophets, and so there were a number of prophets in those days. And there's a particular wife of a man. She cried out to Elisha, and she said, your servant, my husband, is dead. And you know that he revered the Lord, but now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves. And Elisha replied to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house and your servant? She said, your servant has nothing there at all. She said, except a small jar of oil. Now, the Bible doesn't tell us who this poor widow was. It doesn't give us a name, which prophet maybe she was, or was it one that we've never heard of. But according to Jewish tradition, we don't know this for it to be a historical fact, but it's just a Jewish tradition, that she may have been the wife of the prophet Obadiah. And you can read about Obadiah. There's a book titled by his name. And she may have been the wife of Obadiah. If this is the case, then it would be no wonder she was in financial need, because Obadiah was known for protecting and providing for 50 other prophets. Now, there's something you need to know that a guy taught me a long time ago that was doing my taxes. And he said that ministers, by nature, they're not savers. They give. They give, and they don't always take care of their taxes properly and things of that nature. And so this man was not putting anything away. In fact, he was using everything he had for the prophets. And so if she was Obadiah's wife, he would have taken all his resources that he had to meet the needs of other prophets. And so when he died, it left his family in need. And it was not uncommon for a prophet's family to be financially struggling, because they would spend the majority of their life on the run, trying to survive, and it was always very difficult to make ends meet. I don't want to make this a sermon about ministry, but the Bible does teach us in the New Testament that you should that ox is worthy of his wage. And what that basically means is the servant of God should, he's worthy of double honor. He's worthy to be paid. And that's a whole nother sermon series. So if you can picture this, we've got a widow who is maybe in her 30s, possibly 40s. But likely in her 30s. And humanly speaking, she has no hope whatsoever. She's lost her husband. She can't pay her bills. She's got no chance at meaningful employment, because in this culture, there was nothing for a woman like her to do except turn to harlotry. That's the only way she could earn a living. And it was a life that no woman would want. A job that no woman would want to take at that time. On top of all that, she's going to lose her sons. It doesn't get any worse than this. Yeah, she could get the plague, yeah. But as far as livelihood, she's thinking, this is the end. Look at the person sitting next to you and tell them, some people have it worse. Yeah. You know, we ought to be thankful for God's goodness and grace in life. And for every provision, it's the gift of God. We ought to rejoice every time we pay a power bill. Now, I know like to do that, do we? Especially if it's a highway. We ought to rejoice every time we pay that water bill. Because we have water. And we got the money that God's provided. We got the water. We got the resource. But she's going to lose everything the way it looks. And some of you, maybe, you feel this way. There's people today, maybe not in this room, but possibly that you're married and just barely hanging on. There are some people who feel like somebody that they love has betrayed them. There's some people who are concerned because their children are going astray. They're headed the wrong direction. You know if they don't turn around, it's calamity. Some of you look at your bank account and you think, this is terrible. And you don't have any way of getting out of the mess that you're in. You know, just say, that plastic they send you in the mail, that's not going to help you. It's just going to dig you a little deeper. And maybe there's somebody here or somebody whose health is questionable. You've made a doctor's visits and you're not sure what's going to happen. If you're in a significant need today, I believe that God wants to build your faith. Here's the principle that will kind of overshadow everything today. When you don't have what you really want, you will discover God. When you don't have what you really want, it's then that you can discover God is your real need. And this woman, she tells the prophet about her circumstances. And notice what the prophet does. He doesn't say, oh, that's bad. I'm going to be thinking about you. Can I just say something? If I've got a bad situation, don't tell me you're thinking about me. Tell me you're praying for me. Do something significant. Do something that can make a difference. Thinking about me doesn't help me. Praying for me will help me. And I know we sometimes see those greeting cards that says, thinking of you. We ought to, if you have to buy one of those, we ought to put on there, I am praying for you. Don't just think about it. But notice what the prophet says. He says, how can I help you? How can I help you? When we encounter people in everyday life, those are 5 words that we need to learn very well. In fact, let's practice. How can I help you? Do it again. How can I help you? You know, if we practice just those 5 words, what a difference it would make in the world. The prophet didn't say, I'm thinking about you. He said, how can I help you? We were going someplace a little over a week ago, and I was getting off the interstate at Rocky Face exit. And as I get down to stop, there's a woman sitting, pulling off to the side a little bit. She's in a little red car, and her car's broken down. And I'm thinking, I'm still thinking, I wonder if there's something I can do, because I'm not a mechanic. And just as quickly as I had that thought, I looked up, and there come a guy pulling the opposite way into the grass beside her. And I told Tammy, I said, that's Rodney Lee. And you don't know Rodney Lee, most of you. But Rodney Lee is a deacon at Salem Baptist. And you know what? I know he didn't know that lady. He didn't know her. But you know what? He had said in his spirit, how can I help you? And he pulled up there and he got out and he was going to take care of her. And as I was preparing this message, I thought, that guy was doing what all of us should do. How can I help you? Can I say, if you want to be filled with joy and make a difference in this world, we've got to learn to ask that question. How can I help you? How many people do we pass every day that are in some type of desperate situation? And we never say a word. We just kind of keep on going. How can I help you? The prophet said. I hope if you don't remember anything else about this message today, I hope you'll write down and remember those words. And I hope I will. How can I help you? That's what he said to her. Well, moving on, let's notice that he respects her dignity here. And he says, after he says that, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? In other words, he was showing respect for her. Let's see what we can gather together. Tell me what you've got. He didn't say I'm here with all the answers. He said, let's start with what you have and let God meet your needs with what you have. Your servant. Say it with me. Your servant has. Some of you are not. Some of you are a little slow. You're just like me at school and you just woke up. Your servant has nothing at all. Now, is that not the way we feel sometimes? We feel like we don't have anything. When we're in need sometimes, we focus more on what we don't have than what we do have. Oh, me. That's us. You just hang a sign over that. My name on it. And this is exactly where this poor woman was. She lost everything, and all she could see was what she didn't have. Now, there are some of you in here today, and you're thinking that you can't have what you need because you don't have enough money. Or because you don't have a spouse. Or because your house isn't nice enough, you can't entertain people or host people or feed people. And we offer every excuse in the world to why we can't do something. What if Rodney said, I don't have time? What if Rodney said, I don't want to get dirty? I was remembering as I was preaching, or preparing this message, I remembered that Tammy and I had been married for a while. And we were attending church, and a couple invited us to their house. Sort of hit it off with them a little bit. They invited us to the house, and we get to the house, and it is, I'm not sure if it was a 10 wide or a 12 wide mobile home, and it wasn't a new one. And it was one of the shorter ones. It wasn't like a 70, even a 60. It's just a little place. But they invited us. And they invited us again and again and again. And I can't tell you the number of meals we ate at their house. We didn't have kids yet. It was bologna. It was hot dogs. And on special occasions, it might have been shrimp or steak or chicken. But you know what a difference they made in our lives? See, they didn't let what they didn't have keep them from doing what they could. Now, you got to think about this. You can't let what you don't have keep you from doing what you can. And they ministered to us. And to this day, they're some of our very, very closest friends. We don't ever see them, but they're still very, very close to us. So, here's my point. Stop waiting for what you want and start working with what you have. Use what you've got until God gives you better, or what you think you need. Your servant has nothing there at all, to say that last time with you, except a jar of olive oil. She didn't have anything except a small jar of olive oil. Now, what good is a little bitty jar of olive oil if you don't have anything else to go with it? Well, olive oil actually was a very valuable commodity in that day. It was very rare. It had tons of important uses. Let me just list a few of them. Cooking, obviously, we still use it for cooking today. Lighting lamps. Moisturizing the face. Keep leather pliable, and in that day, leather was a very important thing that you had to be able to maintain. It would keep iron from rusting. It was used as an offering to God. It was used to anoint people in God's service. So it had just hundreds of uses. And she says, I don't have anything except a small jar of olive oil. We need to look around today, no matter what our need is and what we don't have, and take stock of what we do have. Because the old song says it well, little is much when God is in it. I'm thankful that we serve a God who specializes in doing a lot with little. He specializes in doing a lot with little. I've got to hurry, but think about David. David was just a little shepherd boy. His brothers said, you need to be back home taking care of the animals. He was the youngest. He was the looked over one. He was small. But when the nation of Israel stood shaking in their boots at Goliath, it was a small boy with 5 small stones and a whole lot of faith that brought a giant to his knees. He didn't just bring him to his knees, he cut off his head. A great victory because he was willing to do what he had. That giant said, who are you to willing to come against me? And David said, who are you to come against the armies of the living God? David didn't matter to say, if you think, everybody thinks you're too big to beat, I think you're too big to miss. See, there's always 2 ways to look at it. And so God used a little boy, shepherd boy. God can do a lot with a little. I don't have time, but do you remember how many Jesus fed thousands? Do you remember what he fed them with? A little boy's Happy Meal. That's what it was. It was a little boy's Happy Meal. Fish and loaves. And we know that Matthew says there were 5,000, but that didn't count the women or the children. So it was in the upwards of 12, 13,000. As many as 15,000. With that little boy's lunch. What are they among so many? One of the disciples said. He fed them. And guess what? There were what? There were leftovers. 12 basketfuls of leftovers. That was a basket for each disciple for the next day. And Elisha didn't say, what do you want? Or what do you need? He said, what do you have? I thought of 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. I think I've got it up there. It says, by God's divine power, God has given us everything we need for living a godly life. He didn't say you can live a godly life if you've got the right kind of house, or if you drive the right kind of car, or if you have the right kind of clothes, or if you have the right kind of mate. He didn't say you can live a godly life as long as you got perfect health. He didn't say all these things. He said we have everything we need to live a godly life. We have received it all of this by coming to know Him, Jesus, salvation, the one who has called us to Himself by means of His marvelous glory and excellence. Talking about the grace of God. We got everything we need for a life of godliness and righteousness. We make so many excuses. There's that old song that Kings would sing back when I was young, excuses, excuses. Everybody's got one.
The whole family has to say, I'm just really that for you.
That's what, yeah, that's what it's like. Let's stop waiting for what we want and start working with what we have. Because God has given us everything we need to do everything He wants us to do. What does God want you to do? He's giving you everything you need to do. He said, but I'm not a good speaker. Do you remember what He told Moses? He said, I made that mountain. I made your mouth. And I want you to speak for me. I tell you what, whatever excuse you offer, God can top it. Let me move on. I got to hurry. Another thought that we can glean from this story is that limitations are the fuel for innovation. See, what you don't have can become the fuel for what you need. If we had what we thought we needed, God wouldn't be able to show us what we need to see. And so God allows limitations in our life in order to teach us and to show us His power, His might, His glory. You say, well, what about those who die? Oh, I want you to know they see glory. They've got a lot more understanding on a deathbed than they've ever had before. And if they've got their right mind, and the glory of God rests on them. I've seen it, you have too. Some of us are thinking, I wish I had something else so I could do something more significant. I say, no, stop waiting for what you want and start working with what you have. I don't make enough money. I got to get a second job. But have you ever thought about your home every night with your kids? And you can invest in the lives of your children? You might make more money. But what is the eternal investment? When you're a man of God to your children, you're a huge success. This story teaches us, offer God what you have and trust Him to give you. Let's look quickly at verses 3 and 4. God, what you have, and trust Him. Give you what you need. Verse 3. Elisha said, go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Now, if you don't have anything, you've got to be thinking, what good is empty jars? That doesn't make any sense at all. Don't ask for just a few. And then go inside and shut the door and shut the door behind you and your sons, and pour oil into all the jars as each is filled. He said, put it to one side. You're going to have to trust God to fill the jar, because you've only got that much to start with. You've only got that much to start with. And now He's talking to you about filling multiple jars. He doesn't say get small ones either. And He didn't say just get one or two. Get all that you can get. And sometimes you do have to borrow other people's faith. You need to get around some people. Borrow from their faith. Let's look at verse 5 and 6. And so she left him and shut the door behind her and her sons, and they brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. And when all the jars were full, she said to her son, bring another one. But he replied, there's not a jar left. It says, then the oil stopped flowing. And she went and told the man of God. He said, go sell the oil, pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what's left. When she offered what little she had, God gave her everything she needed. And then some, enough to live on. She had leftovers enough. And when you offer what you have, you stop waiting. Then God will give you what you need. To do something special. Now, when He said get jars, He didn't say get a certain color jars. He didn't say get a certain size jars. He didn't say get a certain shape of jars. He said get all the jars you can. And the only requirement, what's the only requirement that the jars had to be? Empty. Empty. That's the only requirement God wanted, was empty jars. It might have been a milk jugs. I mean, big old jars. Could have been a peanut butter jar. Could have been a butter tub. He said, I just make sure it's empty. When we show God our faith, we get to see God's faithfulness. Remember, this whole series is all about faith, growing our faith. And so, as I wrap up, how does this apply to us today? Well, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7 says this. But we have this treasure, that is the knowledge of Christ, in what? Jars of clay. Means we're broken. We're apt to leak. To show that this all-surpassing power is from God, not from us. We're just clay pots. We're dirt houses. We have this treasure. You know what? I believe God's looking for some empty jars in Emmaus today. You've been so consumed with what you don't have, trying to hold on to what little bit you've got. God wants you to come as an empty jar to Him that He can fill. When we empty ourselves of self and of pride and of greed and of our own agendas and come to God totally empty, then He fills us with His power, His vision, and Himself. And before you know it, suddenly you realize when you don't have outwardly what you really wanted, it was God that you really needed. You see, when you're weak, He's your strength. When you're hurting, He's your comforter. When you're lost, He's your guide. When you're hungry, He's your bread. When you're thirsty, He's your living water. When your life is unstable, He's your rock that does not move.
Amen.
And when you realize, I do not have what I wanted, then suddenly you discover He is exactly what you need.